Well, hey everyone, happy Bulletproof Monday. First and foremost, I want to just send so much love to you, to your family, to the people you care about. I know we are all facing this crisis together, and there are people out there, millions of people who have lost their jobs. There are people who have lost their businesses. There are people who are hanging by a thread. I spoke to a friend of mine today, and he's like, Susan, I might have to lay off 144 people. And I know some of you are actually thriving right now. I know some of you are choosing to see the bright side with every one of these challenges. Wherever you are at, I just want to say I'm so grateful you're here, that we get to spend this time together. If you haven't ever joined a Bulletproof Monday, my name is Susan Sly. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a startup founder. I'm a CEO. I'm a mom of five. And four of my five kids are at home right now. And interestingly enough, they're all Zooming together. I have gone to my office where there is no one here, just me, so I can have some connectivity for all of you. And so I just, use these times to really be able to pour some wisdom into you, give you some skills and the mindset necessary to go out there and just live an extraordinary life and to transform others. So today we're going to talk about reclaiming your power. So in times of crisis, it is very easy to feel powerless. And when you're feeling powerless, it can be overwhelming. It can be exhausting. It can be the thing that keeps you up at night. It can be the thing that self-sabotages you. That's where you're feeling powerless and you're like, I'm just going to Netflix and chill. I am not going to get a workout in. I am not going to figure out a way to navigate business. I'm not going to go on to the SBA and file for a business loan so I can retain my employees. And I've been there myself. Back in 2000, I owned a business. I owned a health club. I had 54 employees who relied on me. We were open 7 days a week. I was on radio and television. I had a daily television show where I was giving health and fitness tips to thousands and thousands of people who tuned in every day. I was writing for magazines like Oxygen magazine. I also was a professor of nutrition. I was a nationally ranked athlete. I was a professional athlete and a mom. And I had all of these balls in the air. And on January 13th of 2000, I was actually diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I thought that was, the most cataclysmic thing that could happen to me. I had had symptoms. I was exhausted. I was dropping things. I dropped my car keys. I dropped the chalk when I was teaching my students. I was up in the middle of the night and I couldn't tolerate heat. I couldn't tolerate cold. I had numbness and tingling in my arms. I was having difficulty speaking. And if you've been a fan and a follower of Bulletproof Monday for a long time, you'll notice sometimes I still, just sometimes it might take a little longer to say things. But on that fateful day on January 13th, 2000, when my doctor called me in his office and he showed me the scan of my brain and there were lesions all over my brain, he said, Susan, you are going to be in a wheelchair in 10 years. And with a case like this, you're probably going to be dead in 20. And I was 27 years old. And I thought, this is the worst thing that could happen to me. Well, 3 days later, my marriage fell apart. 16 weeks later, I lost my business. I ended up homeless as a single mom. And I thought, okay, I'll never say this is the worst thing that can happen to me again, because all of these things happened within a 16-week period. To go from, being a local celebrity, being known, to driving the Mercedes and, all the stuff that doesn't really matter, to having absolutely nothing and having to build my life again from the ground up. And I know some of you, or maybe you know someone, in which case you can share this video with them. Some of you are in that position right now. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage. I just lost my job or I'm furloughed. Cheesecake Factory, 3 days ago, they announced, hey, if we owe you rent, we're not paying our April rent. We're just not doing it. It's a multi-billion-dollar company and they just furloughed tens of thousands of their employees. Lots of companies have furloughed their employees. They're not exactly without a job. They're like, well, when we come back, you get to come back too. Some companies have said you're just downright laid off or you're fired. You might be where I was 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, almost to the date that I lost my business was Good Friday. So we're coming up on that 20-year anniversary. You might be in a similar situation, and I am here today to give you hope. You can reclaim your power. You do not have to be powerless. And yes, you might be exhausted. You might be frustrated. You might even be angry at this whole situation. You might even have a loved one who has COVID. You might have something in your life going on where you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that could physically happen to me. And here's what I'm here to say to you. I know it's hard. I've been there. But you are not powerless. And today I'm going to give you some strategies to reclaim your power so you can get out there to either grow your business, expand your business, get a job, be a better mom, be a better dad, do what you need to do to move forward. This is not the time to Netflix and chill. If you are fortunate right now and you are sitting on millions and millions of dollars and it doesn't matter because you've got everything you need, you are the last person that should be Netflix and chilling. You should be figuring out creative ways to donate some money, to do some things to support small business owners, to give more freely of your time, your resources. The people I know who are very, very, very well off, one of my friends, she said to me, she's like, oh, I just wrote a check. I'm not going to say how much that check was. This is Friday. And that was just part of how much money she gave away last week in order to help people. So I don't care where you are at right now. There's always something we can do. You are not powerless. We never are. And back in 2000, when I thought I was powerless, I wasn't. And I was able to turn my life around. And 3 years later, I had started a business. That big business went on to become very, very successful. I got my health back. I, fell in love with, a man who I had known in high school, that I got into high school with. We started a beautiful family and I turned my life around. I have come back from less than zero. And no matter where you're at, you can do that too. So I want to go ahead and get started and give you these 5 strategies, and none of them cost anything. But the first thing I want to do is invite you. So as a social media personality, as a speaker, I had the first sort of online coaching business back in 1995. I asked some of my friends last week, I said, guys, we have got to help people. So on Friday, I'm doing a free, no sales business summit called Business Summit of Hope with, guess who's showing up for this? It's unbelievable. Tom Ziglar. His dad was Zig Ziglar. He now helms the whole Ziglar brand. My friend Tom is coming. Jason Pfeffer, he was the co-founder of MySpace, the OG social media company. That MySpace sold for $600 million several years ago. I've got Dennis Yu coming. He's a global branding expert. Clayton Mask, he's the founder of Infusionsoft. At one point, they were paying their employees in the early days on credit cards. Clayton has been there. I've got Casey Adams coming. Casey is he's got the #1 podcast in the world for Gen Z called Rise the Young. Kieran O'Brien, he teaches you how to do social media optimization. Jeff Cox is coming. He works for big companies like Apple and Wells Fargo. Diana Frerick is coming. She was she helped grow PetSmart to $1 billion company. I'm going to be there. Dr. Diane Hamilton, she worked with Steve Forbes. She ran Forbes University. She's a best-selling author on the Curiosity Code. So I asked some of my friends, I'm like, hey, let's come together. So each person is training for 10 minutes. They're going to share how they overcame a business challenge and give you 3 tips that either are totally free or cost you very little. So get registered today on the businesssummitofhope.com. It's not that, just businesssummitofhope.com. I want to see you there. So let's get into these 5 tips. All right. So number 1, let's reclaim your power. The first thing is with your health. Okay, in times of crisis, there are different memes going around. In fact, a friend of mine is a fitness competitor. She's super lean, and she sends me this before and after meme. It's her before COVID and after, and she made the picture look all obese. And you've seen all those memes going around. They're actually not funny. There are people who are just choosing to use crisis as a time to stuff their emotions down, stuff the fear down, the overwhelm down, all of it. It doesn't need to be this way. The first way we reclaim our power is to take back our health, and it doesn't have to cost you anything. So here are some suggestions that I have. So moving your body for 45 minutes a day. Could you do that? Yes, my daughters were in our backyard yesterday. They were doing this ab workout and they were doing like all this stuff just on yoga mats. You could do that in your living room. Move your body. It is going to help you secrete those feel good hormones, which are going to empower you. When you do things like don't exercise, it disempowers you. Also, drinking lots of water, flushing out your body, 3 to 4 liters of water a day. That's a gallon of water a day. When your body's under stress, you actually need more water. So, drinking more water, getting your sleep. You may be so stressed out right now that you're not sleeping properly. You need to stop watching the news. Stop looking at media, especially an hour before you're trying to go to bed. Read something positive and uplifting, because just as much as there is a lot of negativity out there, there's a lot of positivity out there. You know what I did? I took this little sign and it says, "You are loved," and I put it beside my bed. So it's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing I see before I go to bed. You are loved. Write yourself a love note. Put it beside your bed. Do something to empower your mental health. And then your nutrition. You may be on a beans and rice budget. Beans and rice, rice and beans, as Dave Ramsey says. Good. It's healthy. Eat it. You know, the same price that a chicken that you could roast cost, you could also go buy a bunch of Doritos and Ho-Hos and Ding Dongs. I don't know the names of all the junk food. It costs the same. And all the studies actually show that if you took the same amount of money you spent on even dollar meals and you went and you spent that on healthy foods, just think of the nutrition that you could get. Do not use this crisis as an excuse to let yourself go, because that is one of the top things that is going to take away your power. Okay, and you were meant for greatness. You were meant for more. This is not a time to try and check out physically, emotionally. This is not that time. We'll all go on a great vacation on the other side of this, when people are working again, when businesses are hiring again, when the times are abundant again. We will all take that time. We're all going to take a collective breath and go, this is amazing. That's not this time. You need to take care of yourself because people are relying on you. Number 2 is your relationships. Take back your power with your relationships. Some of you have been snapping at people in your house. Some of you are agitated because all your kids are on the internet at the same time. Some of you are not the best version of you. Okay? Take this time. I have been personally reaching out to people that I haven't spoken to in years. Are you okay? I'm just checking in with you. I spoke to someone on Saturday. I haven't spoken to her in probably over 6 years. How are you doing? Just checking in on you. And you know what? People want to hear from you. Reach out. This woman that I met today, Norma, she reached out to someone she hasn't spoken to in 40 years. They served in the military together, and then they were deployed to different places. She reached out and talked to her. This whole concept that we're just going to DM people or we're just going to text people, your phone, it also makes phone calls. Pick up your phone and talk to someone. Let them hear your voice. I made a video for a friend. I had no idea. I'm like, God just put you on my heart. I hope you are doing well. I'm praying for you. I sent him the video. Didn't hear from him. And then today I spoke to him and he's like, I might have to lay off all of my staff. I'm speaking to bankers. I'm trying to do everything. And I said, I want you to know I'm praying for you. And if you need anything, I want to be the first person you call. You have no idea how reaching out to someone, even if you're the one in need, can ultimately change how you feel. And that's one of the best ways to reclaim your power, is just to be a good stand for someone else. The other thing we're doing in our house with regard to relationships is just creating schedules. So yesterday, I had a poster of all our family activities that we have this week. So we have yoga night, we have basketball night, we have French lesson night, we have different things going on, and I wanted to make it fun for the kids. So much like when you go to a resort, there are daily activities. Well, at our house, there are daily activities and they don't cost anything. They're just, things we get to do as a family. And I let the kids pick what they wanted to do. And we're having a lot of fun. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, next thing, number 3 is learn something. One of the best ways to take back your power is to learn something. If you have been furloughed, if you have been laid off, your skills pay your bills. That's what my dad taught me when I was a little kid. He said, Susan, as long as you have skills, you will never go hungry. Thank you, Dad. My dad watches every week. So, hey, Dad. That's why I learned how to be a fitness instructor, a personal trainer, a server in a restaurant. I have a whole bunch of skills. I have a whole bunch of certifications. I'm a certified coach, a certified NLP trauma relief specialist. Right now I'm in MIT. I'm studying machine learning. I'm constantly building skills. And you can go on YouTube and learn a skill. You can go, listen to a podcast. If you're an auditory person, you can read books. You can take a course. I have a course coming up on April 9th, Organize Your Life for Entrepreneurs. I actually rolled the price back. So we're charging $147 for 6 weeks intensive with me. And in that class, I'm teaching, legal skills, accounting skills, habits, and my life's mission with my business is to empower 1,000 people to build businesses that do over $1 million a year. So, I get fired up about that. You can check that out on susansly.com under my courses. So learn something, do something in that regard. The next thing is pivot. Pivot. Write that word down, pivot. So if you have a business or you were an employee or whatever it is that you did or do to generate money, figure out a way to pivot. So my friend Laura and her husband Rob, they have a distillery in Iroquois, Ontario. And I was talking to Laura and she said, we're making hand sanitizer now, Susan. That's what we're doing. We're making hand sanitizer. She's like, it's flying off the shelves. We're taking orders. We're helping a lot of folks. And that's what they did. They pivoted their distillery, this little tiny distillery. Most of you haven't heard of Iroquois, Ontario, and that's what they did. My friend Barb, she's a music teacher. She's so talented. She teaches voice, piano, clarinet, guitar. This woman is amazing. She's pivoting to teaching all of these things online. I have another friend, Marcia. Marcia is gifted in math. Marcia loves math. When she talks about math, it's like most people talking about chocolate. Marcia is like, oh, I love math. Marcia is building a platform so she can help parents do online math tutoring. But I'm going to be the first one to book her because I just am not good at grade 9 algebra whatsoever. So figure out a way to pivot. If you're a teacher, and you can do tutoring, there are lots of people out there who do have the money to pay you. Maybe you can, if you came from the hospitality industry, what other skills do you have? Maybe you could do some online tutoring. I know that someone I know just taught a creative writing course online for 2 hours for kids and middle school kids. I don't know how much they charged. It wasn't very much. There's a lot of things out there. At Radius, my startup, we were in the sector and we had some amazing technology in the vault. We weren't even going to deploy it until 2021, 2022, and it was in real time to be able to detect if people were hand sanitizing and then to give them a nudge if it wasn't long enough, because we know in COVID right now that if appropriate hand sanitizing would actually prevent 40% of the spread of the disease, but most people don't wash their hands long enough. They don't hand sanitize properly, or they just don't do it at all. And one stat I read is 90% of all hand sanitization is ineffective, right? So we actually have the ability to integrate into security cameras, not know anything about the person individually, their name, anything about them like that, but just let them know, hey, don't forget to hand sanitize. By the way, your hands aren't sanitized yet. And then we see how long they've done it. We go, boop, sanitized, you're good. So we pulled that out. I just came out of a meeting. I'm so excited to get this out to the world, and fever detection through cameras. So to be able to help people, because it's not just about COVID. We'll have another flu season. We'll have something else, and we can help a lot of people. People in business right now, and some of the companies that you are going to know their name, the household names of companies 3-4 years from now are probably being born right now. In fact, a lot of companies we know that are household names came and were birthed after the last recession. Some of you use Zoom meeting. The stock is on fire. That company didn't even exist during the recession. So a lot of these amazing companies came because of hardship, the video conferencing, there's so many different things, online learning platforms. Guys, if you have an idea, start it, do it, put it out there. And you might be saying, well, Susan, what if only a few people want what I have, or one or two? If you freaking help one or two or three people, then you are an amazing human. But if you don't do anything, you're not going to help any people, and that you have to live with the person in the mirror. That, I always feel if you can, you should, you must. And then the fifth thing is figure out how to give. Now you might say, well, Susan, I'm furloughed. We don't have money coming in. I can't give. Get over yourself. There are a lot of people out there giving that don't have any money right now, but they're figuring out a way. I have a friend who he organized a group of people in his neighborhood to go shop for seniors during this time. I have other friends who are doing stuff like they're just, organizing happy hours online in a Zoom room or something just to bring people together. There are lots of things you can do that don't require giving your money, but if you have money and you are employed, I know many of you are working from home. Here are some suggestions I have for you on Friday night. Obviously during times like this, one of the things is, for me, I'm like, I will do whatever it takes to help my employees maintain their jobs. No matter what I have to do, if I have to put in 16, 18-hour days, I don't want my employees to not be able to pay their rent because I'm not working my tail off. So we're doing whatever we can to keep all of our employees employed. But I said to Chris on Friday, I'm like, listen, we're gonna get takeout. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yes. We can afford to pay our employees. We're going to get takeout. We're going to support small business. I'm not talking about one of the big chains, but there's a restaurant here in Arizona, and they have, I think, 8 locations. And so we ordered some takeout, and Chris went to pick it up, and he said, Susan, they were so grateful. He's like, I was overwhelmed. I couldn't believe how grateful they were. So if you can still afford to support some local businesses, if you can still afford to, whether it's, essentially buy gift certificates or do the takeout or whatever it is. Even my daughter Emery, she's in Kumon Math, and Kumon is a franchise, and the person who helms that franchise, when this all started, I emailed her. I said, Amy, listen, we will do whatever we need to do to support you because you've been there for us. So they took all of their classes online. We are not canceling just because my daughter is not physically going in to the center. We're doing whatever we can to support the business owners. And that's what I want to say to you. If you can give, don't discount your gift. And I'm going to finish with this. So firstly, if today has been helpful, I'd love for you to share it. It's so wonderful to see all of my familiar faces. Rodney in Australia, it's great to see you. Ula Kami, see you as well. Of course, my good math tutor and Ralph and everyone. I want a final message to you. My final message to you is this. We are all in this together, and this too shall pass. And as hard as it is sometimes, and the wall kicking and the frustration, be stronger than your weakest emotions. And as you listen to my voice, just do one thing. Just reach out to one person and let them know you care. And if you come to Bulletproof Monday and you love it, if you could do one for me, because again, we're not selling anything, we are not promoting anything, just go and register for the Business Summit of Hope. Just businesssummitofhope.com. These amazing people, Tom Ziegler and Kate Mask and Dennis Yu and all these incredible people, Dr. Diane Hamilton, they're giving of their time, and let's pack the house. Let's go there, learn, grow together so that we come out on the other side of this, not where we were when we entered it, but stronger, more resilient, more highly skilled and more empowered to go out there and help people. So with that, God bless. I love you. And if this has been helpful, please do comment. I read all of your comments. And if it's been helpful, also, I'd love for you to share. So with that, God bless. You're amazing. And we'll see you on Friday for the Summit of Hope. And we'll all see you next Monday. Goodbye, everyone.